It's December 2nd, 2023, and Fortnite just had its biggest Fortnite season ever. With millions of players flooding back to the game, they smashed record after record when bringing back OG Fortnite again. But fast forward to May the 24th of this year, Fortnite has its biggest drop for players in years, with good and bad players just absolutely hating the game, causing Fortnite to somewhat die. But before we figure out how the game went from 44.7 million playing, which was more in one day than the whole game's history across Battle Royale just over 6 months ago, to as of making this video now, just under 1.3 million players. And to take it even further, there is just under 500k players currently playing Battle Royale. But let's take time back to the end of Fortnite OG again. Coming off their best season ever, Fortnite knew it was clear they had to drop a season the community would love. And in comes Fortnite Underground. Chapter 5 Season 1's released with a whole new map, brand new guns, and a completely different loot pool. It was a perfect way to help keep the players alive, with so many people super excited to play the new season. They introduced a load of crazy new mechanics to completely spice up the gameplay, meaning most players that played the OG season at least gave it a chance, and the first day of the new season it reached a peak of 7.1 million players on the game at one time. This eventually hit 7.6 million, but showed a massive difference between the season before the OG, which peaked at just 2.8 million. This was classed as a new player record for the game, and it felt like with numbers this high, it was going to need something drastic to get the hype away from Fortnite. But after the continued success of Chapter 5 Season 1, Fortnite decided it was time to spice it up a bit and bring out a Greek mythology feed for the brand new season, where they hit their highest peak for 2024 with 5.1 million players. This is a 2 million decrease from the last season, but it's still very strong, healthy numbers, keeping the game very much alive. And this is including all the delays and the downtimes and everything for the new season, which can definitely have an impact on them numbers. But a new season wasn't long to come, as right around the corner it was a perfect chance for Epic to switch things up. After another successful season with the Greek mythology theme, it was about time that they released a season that could bring even more of the community back. And with some crazy marketing across real life events, it was clear this Fortnite season was going to have an emphasis on car combat. To what seemed like a great idea on the surface, little did we know it at the time would introduce the downfall of Fortnite. With Fortnite Wrecked being released, we saw Apocalyptic Wasteland added, bringing a bunch of new POIs, nitro abilities, new weapons, vehicle mods, and just a ton of overall changes. And as you probably know by now, this season is the lowest day 1 player count of the whole of Chapter 5, where we were saying just a decrease of 2 million players was good for the game for day 1. Well, the highest peak for day 1 for the brand new Fortnite season we're currently in went down to just under 3 million players. In fact, it only had 2.28 million players log in its absolute peak on the first day. This started sparking a bunch of debate across the community. Seeing numbers drop from 7 to 5 to 2 million clearly showed that the community just wasn't liking the game. And it wasn't long till articles started getting released showing how big of a drop off this actually was. And not long after that, we saw a whole list of videos wondering if the game was really dying. And with all the bad talk around the game, the players did not feel the hype to rush to their consoles and update the game, which I'm not surprised. For a season that was so heavily favoured for the casual players, even they didn't find the fun in it. And I even remember seeing stories at the time of casual players just absolutely hating on the game and just flat out refusing to play, which, if you do not know by now, Fortnite make the most money by bringing casual or players that most likely don't usually play Fortnite to the game, and then from there working as hard as they can to keep them playing. This is why Epic Games over the years have neglected competitive so heavily, because 90% of the time, as long as the season is somewhat fun and there's a prize pool up for grabs, competitive players will always play, and as long as they're playing, they're still going to spend money on the game, as after all, Fortnite is just one big business and their number one goal is to make money. And what's the easiest way to get that? Well, just get more players to play. And they do that in so many sneaky ways that you probably don't even know, but it's just as simple as make the game fun for the average player to come and play. And we've seen a ton of changes just to public matches across the year, from inputting bots into lobbies to help feed bad players free kills, and having a strict skill-based matchmaking. It does genuinely make Fortnite a very friendly game to a brand new or returning player. But it got to the point where there was literally no point for good players to play ranked anymore, and this reflected massively in their numbers. This meant that Fortnite, for ranked in general, just fully died. We went from having over 1 million players playing ranked around March to dropping so low to where there was just 65k players playing at once. Just to put that into consideration, this change is probably one of the biggest drop-offs, if not the biggest in the whole of ranked history. To go from having over 1 million players to just 65k players playing at once, it was clear something needed to change, and we had to wait a whole month and all the numbers to drop that low before they finally made a change the other day, where they split the rank loot pool, removing cars, nitro fists, and the horrible NPCs. And the fact that it had to fully hit an all-time low to make them changes is just beyond me. But competitive players for years have been shouting at Epic Games to please split the competitive and the casual loot pool. I think every competitive player understands that the concept of the game is to make the game fun for the casuals, but also have the competitive side. And the best of both worlds really does just benefit both audiences, but they also want to make sure that these casual players have the ability to watch competitive. And this is why they refuse to split the loot pool as much as they can, so casual players can still understand what's going on in top tier Fortnite streams and gameplay, like tournaments such as FNCS. But the drop off being so low has been so detrimental to not just Fortnite, but to me, who mainly makes ranked content. So to see such a decline like this really hurts the game and its creators like myself. So please, if you could take a minute just to like the video and subscribe, it would mean the absolute world to me. And as a thank you, I will make a promise to you that I will respond to every single comment on this video. But after a bad start, it was no surprise Fortnite was rushing to make changes. And to this day, they're still trying to find ways to balance the game, and we're well over a month into the season. But that brings up many different questions, such as, is it too late to make changes, or are the changes just not enough? But still, after making a ton of changes to the game, there was nowhere near enough changes early on in the season to bring them players back. They even had days where they struggled to get 1 million players to play the game on average, which for most games is very good, but for Fortnite, this is super low. Less than 1 million players playing Fortnite at one time definitely implies the game is on a backward spiral and on a massive decline. So this meant they needed to make a change to the game. A change that could hopefully bring some players back and bring their numbers back up. So it wasn't long before Fortnite decided to work on something, relying on the strategy of finding something that works and just rinse and repeat it. So they decided to bring out a brand new game mode called Fortnite Reload. It was literally just OG Fortnite, but with a little bit of a twist to it. They made a smaller map, but with all the loot pulled from the OG seasons, and a few changes in regards to how you come back to the game and how you're finally eliminated. This helps to keep it different from the normal Battle Royale, and people like it that much, we currently have more players actually playing Fortnite Reload than actual Battle Royale. But the real question is, how much of a difference did Fortnite Reload actually make to the numbers, and does that mean the game's no longer dying? Or was it just too late for them to revive it? With the announcement of Fortnite Reload, we saw actually quite a big increase in the average numbers of players. The game went from stuck down scraping below 1 million players to comfortably getting between 1.3 to 1.6 million, which is a big increase. In fact, some days even doubling the amount of players that they would have had. But when you really think about it, they still have a long way off hitting over 5 million concurrent players on the game that we saw at the start of Season 2 Chapter 5. So what does the future actually hold for Fortnite? Without a shadow of a doubt, I think Fortnite will 100% make a big comeback. We've seen this many times before, where they'll make some changes to the game that just completely causes the downfall. But before you know it, they've come out with something crazy and they find a way to keep the game relevant. And besides, the game is still actually very healthy. If we look at other games like Rainbow Six Siege, That's 24-hour peak is only at 62,000, and Valorant averages between 650 to 850,000 players, which is half the size of Fortnite. But how long we'll have to wait to get back to the peak of Season 2 again, I'm unsure. With a crazy roadmap that was linked for the new season, hopefully it's not going to be too long. Comment down below if you like the new season or not, and what you think the future Fortnite numbers will look like. And if you like this video, you may also like this video on screen now.